The federal government says it wants to resettle 10,000 more Syrian refugees over the next 3 years. Canada hasn't really done its part. Not we consider that other countries like Germany have pledged to take in 30,000 asylum seekers. Sweden has already taken in more than 20,000, and we've taken in not quite 1,300. Anyway, many private groups are helping by sponsoring refugees, one of which is a church on the North Shore. Canyon Heights Church is committed to helping its Syrian neighbor bring in 5 members of his extended family. Now, this all started when Hisham Wattar, who is Muslim, wandered into the church's coffee shop. Hisham is a restaurant owner. He's lived there for almost 30 years. And the early editions, Elaine Chow, went to meet him and Pastor Steve Moore at Canyon Heights Church.
Celebrity, they're here. The microphone ready to go.
Hi, Hisham.
Hi, Hisham.
Hi, nice to meet you,
Elaine.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
When was the first time you frequented the coffee shop here?
Since last October. So I only live like 2 blocks away from the church, and so this is either my biking way or with my son. I got a 7 years old that he runs around here and play, and so this is just so close and part of my street, basically, and that's how I get to know the coffee shop and the church here, Father Steve.
Hi, Steve. All right.
Coffee?
Sure. Yeah, that would be great. Hisham, tell me a little bit more about your friendship with Pastor Steve.
When the problem started, I really didn't know that the church can sponsor someone. And it's a lot faster process than if you do it yourself. That's when I approached Pastor Steve about that, and he right away says, yes, I will find out, see if I can help you with that.
And Steve, what do you remember of that day?
We were just sitting over by the window. It was a Sunday. I think church was on, and you were waiting for me after church. And so I came out, and then we got talking about the Syrian crisis, which at that point I really wasn't too aware of. I remember him asking me if the church can sponsor refugees, because he was aware of some connections. I had no idea. I had not been involved in that at all. And something that we're trying to establish here as a church is, and one of our core values is generosity. So I'm always preaching at the people in the church to be generous with what they have. As far as the church ministry goes, we started thinking, well, we need to be generous as a church ourselves.
Steve, do you know Hisham's drink by heart now? Like Hisham's?
Yeah, Americano split between me. So he comes in, orders an Americano, and then he always says, we'll split it. And I think that's his way of making me sit down and having a conversation.
Hisham, tell me a bit more about your family situation right now.
My sister has a son, about 22, 23 years old. He was studying English in England and then came back to find out that those young youth, they're going out and protesting for democracy. And among each other, they've chosen him to be one of the speaker in the demonstration. They're alone, maybe 3-4 months, the government identified him, and they start raiding their house. He was detained, and they've raided their houses several times after that, thinking that he is collaborating in sort of a military or something like that. They've raided the house a few times. They found nothing. But they start to harassing the entire family. They feared for their life and the children, and so they start planning to escape. They asked for my help, and I'm glad to offer it.
And so where are they now?
They are in Egypt, Cairo. They've been there for now almost 3 years.
What made you think that if you came to the church, were you surprised that they were willing to help you?
You have to ask to see. And if I'm living on this street and this is the church belongs to my street, so maybe the first step for me is to check on that specific church because they're my neighbor, even though I come here just for coffee and that. But this was a truly community, a church.
What has the response been like to this project? I noticed, one of the first things I noticed when I logged onto your website, this is the focus.
First page.
Yeah, it's the first page. Did you have to do much convincing?
No. I mean, so as far as convincing the congregation about this, they're all for it. They're just waiting. We even made a list of all the things that people would be willing to do, pick them up at the airport, get them to doctor's appointments. People have signed up for that.
I assume that the two of you keep in quite close contact given the involvement of the church in this outreach.
We actually became friends since
Maybe
then.
talk more about sandwich makers. We get together and shoot the breeze over. I'm trying to convince him to go with a different point of sale system. I just pulled it out there to show him. He's trying to convince me to get a sandwich maker. So we're even now at the point where we're helping each other in our business. Of course, he's got way more experience than I do, so I'm learning from him.
To have this happen the way it is, it's a community. I'm a Muslim. This is a Christian church. I think God is smiling up there. That's all I can say. I'm trying to find a way to give back to this church and saying thank you, for what you've done.
So you're even sharing your Americano with Pastor Steve?
Yeah, we split it.
Exactly.
Every time.
That's what makes it exciting now.
Hisham Wattar and Steve Moore talking to Elaine Chow. The application, by the way, to bring Hisham's family to Canada has been accepted, and now he's waiting on the embassy in Cairo to process it.